Welcome, sentient beings from all known universes and beyond. It's time to activate your cranial downlinks and prepare to receive a raft of discussion on a cosmic ocean of science fiction and fantasy topics, interviews with local area genre devotees, and insightful prognostication by our soothsayers of science fiction, our forecasters of fantasy, and any other beings that happen to get caught in our gravity well. This is the Galactic Driftwood Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Galactic Driftwood Podcast. I'm Bill.
I'm Charles.
I'm Seth.
I'm Jenna.
And we have sort of an eclectic mix of things to talk about today on the show, which should be kind of fun. John should be back. We hope he'll be back. He was on, and then all of a sudden his computer froze. So he may be joining us.
Or he was unplugged from the Matrix. We're not sure.
Yeah. Well, all we know for sure is that he appeared frozen. We don't know if his, program locked up and somebody had to go up and reboot him. But we'll find out.
Yeah, 2020 has been a weird year. Could be anything.
Could be. He could have caught the computer equivalent of the coronavirus and he locked up.
He could be on fire, just like California.
I mean,
at this point, we don't know.
It's 2020. It's a sci-fi roll of the dice. The caldera could blow. I don't know.
He could have ascended to a higher state of being.
That's true. Maybe he'll just join us as a, glowing energy ball.
A being of pure energy and snark.
Well, speaking of beings of pure energy, there is
It better be a good segue.
It is. There is a gentleman who, let me get his name here. His name is Andrew Roach. He's a programmer, and he's been using this artificial intelligence tool to, as he calls it, de-oldify black and white movies from like the 50s and earlier, to recolor or to color them. And so the AI basically takes and goes through the film frame by frame and colors it. It's been programmed to do that. And I guess if Linda can pull up that picture of the flying saucer, I'll show you what that looks like. But it did an amazingly good job of colorizing it. Now there were scenes. So this one is the opening shot of the series. So this saucer lands. This particular film is called Teenagers from Outer Space. And that particular
It just sounds like a terrible, terrible porn.
Yeah.
Yes, right. Well,
why would we want to import more teenagers?
Right. Well, if it was porn, it probably would have improved the movie. But anyway, that saucer there is full of 5 guys that come from another planet, and they're scouting out planets that they can use as grazing ground for their herd of gargons. Gargons are lobsters that are about, lobster sized when they first get there. But when you release them on a planet, they draw nutrients from the air, the soil, and whatever else they can eat, and they can grow bigger than large houses. So basically,
do they taste good?
There's a picture of one of them. There's a picture.
I think I saw that guy taking Red Lobster.
Yeah, there's a picture.
They clearly just took a actual lobster.
Yeah, right. And there's one of them that was left for 24 hours to grow from the size of the lobster that you would find at Red Lobster to this giant towering monster. And so their plan is to do this. There's John. He's back. Hey, John.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Hello.
So
he didn't ascend.
No, he didn't ascend. We thought maybe you ascended.
If you were unplugged from the Matrix or not.
The last thing I heard was I'm Bill.
Ah,
and
yes.
then you're all staring at me.
Right.
You're all just literally just staring at me. It's like, are you frozen?
Yeah,
It's
you
like-
looked frozen to us, and we were going to send somebody over to reboot you, but we see you're back. So this is the menacing lobster from Teens from Outer Space movie. They
poor
basically, as we were saying, John, the plan of these aliens was to use the Earth as grazing grounds for their herds of menacing lobsters, which they call gargons.
Yeah, gargons.
Yeah, and so essentially, pull up the skeleton, Linda. So they've got a ray gun that is a molecular disintegrator, which can totally eradicate all forms of matter except for apparently calcium.
Oh.
So anything that they kill, everything's gone except for the bones.
So a Mars
Everything
attacks
is gone
kind of,
except for their prop skeleton.
Yes.
a
Mars
Mars attacks
Attacks is a great movie to recommend.
kind of weapon.
Yeah, pretty much.
And
Pretty
Mars
much.
Attacks. There's a movie we should watch.
Yes,
Actually, I was
that
thinking with this, a great sci-fi movie, if you want good color and hilarity, is Earth Girls Are Easy.
Oh, there you go.
And I don't know if y'all remember this, 1988. It's got Gina Davis, Jeff Goldblum, Jim Carrey, and Damon Wayans.
Wow. That'd be worth watching again.
Yeah, no, from what I remember, it's wonderfully cheesy. And Damon Wayans, Jeff Goldblum, and Jim Carrey play aliens.
Oh, okay. All right. Nice.
Really interesting looking aliens.
Yeah. Linda, pull up the last picture. So so this kind of gives you an example of various elements in the scene that were colorized.
Have people's waists descended since the 50s? Because it looks like they're carrying their belts up fairly high.
Well, I think it was common at that point to cinch your belt up just below your chest.
I mean, that's the style. You think about a lot of the Martin Sheen.
Yeah, but Martin Sheen did it for comedic effect. This is like, I think they're serious.
Right.
No, Michael Douglas. Michael Douglas is who I'm thinking about. No, that was the fashion. It was totally the fashion.
But I think as you can see when you look at this, considering that an AI completely did the recolorization of each of these frames, it did
Yes,
a
but he
darn
made
pretty
the
good job.
cars purple.
What's
The
that?
car's purple to you?
Well, that purplish to me.
There's a reflection that's kind of purple off the top.
Yeah, I see that. I see what Jenna's talking about, but purple, Charles, I don't see it.
Well, through you look, all the main cars have a purplish.
Yeah, the way that they're causing the light to be reflected. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
At least on my TV. I mean, it might.
Now, I will say that in certain scenes when the characters are talking or moving around and they're outside, their skin tones will change pretty regularly within a few seconds of each previous frame. So you can certainly tell that it's not always a smooth transition as the computer.
Even right there, I noticed it had a little problem with the the 5 o'clock shadow on the guys.
Yeah.
Sometimes it'd be there and sometimes it wouldn't.
Right.
Well, I mean, why don't you guys translate the color brown into ones and zeros and tell me how you guys do?
Right. That would be tough for me.
That'd be tough for me too. It's like I don't know how actually an AI could do this at all.
I know, it's pretty amazing when you think about it. They just fed it thousands of frames that were black and white and then colorized, and it slowly learned how to do it from that. So, which is still amazing when you think about it.
Indeed.
So, but
colorization over black and white, I don't know if it was all that. The black and white helps. So if you do it by hand, my grandmother had a lot of black and white photos that she had colorized by hand. And that I believe that the skin tone they have there, you really just have to paint it over, and the black and white kind of shades it in still. I mean, it's a translucent skin tone that you would paint on it in real life.
Oh,
for
I
that
see.
Technicolor look.
And so it just takes advantage of the built-in shading in the frame.
That'd be what I.
Well,
Yeah. So unlike John, I was lesser impressed because.
Okay. There's an original black and white shot.
But because there are Technicolor, I think that's what they used to be called. But originally they were hand painting the films in, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, like
Oh,
frame by frame, which is crazy to think about.
You mean like
Right.
the Turner coloring stuff that they did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
so
But
Charles,
That would have been monotonous work.
Yes.
that's that method of painting is pretty much exactly what I do for painting my minis. Is
Right.
they've got a base like gray paint, then the parts of it are highlighted with white paint, and then you just like put a thin wash of color over that so you can still like see the highlights underneath.
Oh yeah, there's a nice comparison.
So I wish I had them. So like,
Wow. They increased the sharpness too. How did
Right.
they do that?
Yeah, I imagine the computer did that, and that you could tell that as it's going through, it looks mostly fairly sharp, but then in some scenes you can see where the computer failed to sharpen it because it got really kind of fuzzy like this again, and so it made me think as I was watching it, oh, the computer must be improving the original resolution of the film as well as coloring it,
Yeah.
which was
It
pretty
looks
amazing.
really good.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it's kind of nice because I think it makes a lot of these older films, especially ones like, I think this one was filmed with only a budget of 20,000. So it was,
easier to watch.
Which at the
fairly-
time, that would have been
Yeah.
expensive at the time, wouldn't it?
yeah, but I mean, not considering what regular studios were doing. I mean, this would have been probably about not too far before like Forbidden Planet was made.
So
And
they were
that
doing
cost millions.
ray gun effects with like a scratching emulsion kind of deals, rather
Yeah,
than
well, this wasn't
actual
even that.
CGI,
Yeah, this wasn't even that. Basically, the guy pulled the trigger and then there was like a bright light on the end of the gun. So it just lit up kind of like a flashlight.
And they made a
it
noise.
cut
didn't-
over,
yeah.
and then it cut back to the guy and you just saw the skeleton falling over. So
Oh, okay.
you didn't actually see a ray gun effect, which I'm sure helped to save some money as well.
I'm sure.
But interesting, the ray gun effect sounded exactly like the ray guns from War of the Worlds, the original H.G. Wells War of the Worlds.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and that actually might have been one of the first shows to use that particular sound effect. So I wonder if HG or that movie stole the sound effect from them.
There's
and
like
they
first,
created
and then
it.
everyone copies it.
Yeah.
Right.
Firsties. We did it first. He.
So,
But it's
anyway,
funny how like some movies established they make the sound because they were the first in history to use the sound, and then everyone afterward just associated that sound and their own special effects with that action.
yeah.
I guess the king of that would be George Lucas, because he literally used such individual sounds that no one can use them without actually everyone knowing that they stole it from him. So
Well, same could be said of Star Trek too. I mean, look at the original
some of the
sounds
the phaser noise. Yeah, Roddenberry
the warp
was very,
engines,
very big into noise. Roddenberry was. He
the photon torpedoes,
Mhm.
which they did using a slinky.
The T-Rex roar. Like
Yeah.
I know there's other dinosaur roars before that, but I don't think anything since Jurassic Park has quite had that level of impact.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I wonder how they did that. Because I mean, I heard it sound exactly like that from one of the stall doors in the second floor bathroom on the Arts and Science building. When it closes, it sounds like a dinosaur.
From what I understand, they layered a couple of different animals together. It's a baby elephant squeal, an alligator gurgling, a tiger snarl, and the sound of an air escaping a whale's blowhole.
Wow.
The more you know.
Yeah.
The more you know.
No, but I remember because I was so obsessed with Jurassic Park for so long, I'd watch all the making of, and that was one of the things they talked about, that they really wanted it to sound real and like multi-level, especially being in the theater. So you had a physical response to the sound. And it makes sense. Like a lot of those are predator sounds.
And that really, like that first time the T-Rex roars, though, that really is good.
Yeah, they've got this season of Discovery. They introduce.
No spoilers.
Well, it's not really going to spoil anything. It's called a transworm, and it's got a noise that it makes, and it's kind of an interesting sound. It's not an alien. Well, it is an alien, but it's not a sentient thing. It's like an animal, essentially. So it's you'll get to love the transworm like you love the Tribble.
Star Trek spoilers. Don't you make me.
No, you'll be
Reach
fine.
through that monitor.
You'll be fine.
You don't make me go.
It won't spoil anything.
I will go tubing on you and just like that.
Jeffrey Tubin?
Yeah. It's gonna happen.
You're gonna expose yourself on camera.
If you spoil Star Trek, it's
Man,
So
don't
what's
get all
interesting
of
where
us
this could-
punished too.
Right.
then you have a
don't-
civic responsibility to
Don't
stop.
punish our listeners.
So
Yeah, I guess they didn't. They didn't sign up for that.
No.
Sorry,
Oh,
Jenna.
no.
Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say with AI doing the colorization of these older films, which is great because then we can see them and kind of refresh our joy of the context of the period.
Right.
And then I've seen AI produced artwork like 2D pictures recently in like the news. They just like, what would AI create? Would be really interesting now is to go to the next level. What type of movies would AI create based off of what it filters on the internet?
They're actually doing that. Did you know that? There's
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it'll fill in scripts now, I believe.
hold on. It's
The tropes are just going to become more tropey, obviously.
yeah, Sunspring is a 2016 experimental science fiction short film entirely written by an artificial intelligent bot using neural networks. We should watch that and talk about that on our next show.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
All right. Well, we'll
Man,
make that a
that's all
plan,
I
something to
need.
tune in for next time. What's that, Seth?
Well, that's all I need. It's hard enough to get into writing as it is, but if AIs are
If you got to
be
compete with
writing,
AI.
It's okay, Seth, when there's a big solar wind and all of our technology is basically evaporated, we'll need real skills, real artist skills again.
Well, it's kind of it's like what Westworld said is that humans think they're complex, but they're really not. And the algorithms that we all use are simple. We're not really as interesting as we like to think we are, and it's fairly easy to do everything we can do. And it's like it's frighteningly easy, and it could probably bother you if you thought about it.
I mean, I think you're trivializing how hard it is to make an AI that can do something like this.
Oh well, I have no idea how hard it is, but there it is. It's right there.
I think you're also trivializing how many organisms it took to get to the point of creating humans to make the AI to do the thing.
True.
We haven't actually seen the movie yet.
I'm fully aware of how many organisms were involved in getting here and how improbable the trip was.
Yeah.
For him to actually exist. I am an
Still a
anthropologist.
simple logarithm.
Yeah, I don't think we may not be as spiritually complex or whatever that a lot of people would like to think but we are incredibly unique as far as
we are extremely unique. It's like
it may be easy to predict our behavior based on personality, but I think that creative spark that we have duplicating that, or our problem solving abilities, that is much more involved programmatically speaking for an AI to
oh yeah, it's you could make an AI maybe that could write a book, but it wouldn't probably write a book unless you told it what to write about. It literally wouldn't think outside of itself. So
yeah,
it could analyze every book that has ever come before it, and then regurgitate something that had elements from that in it.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of the Star Trek episode where Data was on the holodeck and he was trying to live a Sherlock Holmes or go through a Sherlock Holmes mystery. And so it was impossible for him to do it because he had read all the Sherlock Holmes novels. So everything they put for him, no matter which particular story they created, he already knew how to solve it because he knew the story. So they had to have the computer create a completely unique story in the Holmesian style, but then they also had to create a character worthy of Data's complex algorithms, which was almost ended up being their demise when they did that. But
Of course.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, has anyone seen a show on HBO called American Gods?
Yeah, I've read the book.
I've read the book.
Well, in one of the episodes, there's a kid whose dad loves classical music, so he makes him play classical music all the time, practicing on the piano. But the kid loves computers, so he made an algorithm that would not only learn all of the past masters' greatest works, but actually replicate them, make new works based upon the old algorithms. And he was successful. And it's like his father thought it was great until he told him what he did. Then he realized that a computer can do this brilliant work, and his father killed himself. So
Maybe that's not supposed to be funny.
you have a weird laugh there at that point. You want to explain that, Mr. Charles?
Oh, no, yes, I can just see it.
Sociopathy is hard to deal with.
Charles probably thinking that the guy designed a murder bot, essentially a musical murder bot, without intending to.
No. Suicide is not murder, but it's.
Oh, I mean, it was the computer through its beautiful music that forced the guy to commit suicide. So
didn't force him to.
That's been common knowledge. The classic, a lot of it anyway, does follow mathematical formulas. I mean, we've.
How is a computer that plays perfect music that gets under your skin to the point that it forces you to commit suicide different from perhaps a computer that goes online?
It doesn't force you to commit suicide.
Okay, but
this kind of,
how is that different from somebody that goes online and harasses somebody on the internet to the point where they commit suicide?
Completely different.
Yeah, because what John is saying, that the guy was made so hopeless that IT could mimic the human condition that he killed himself.
Well, sure, right. But I'm saying
he's not forcing
I think
him.
the difference is in intent right there. Did the son mean for it, or did he just want to get his dad off his case?
He actually wanted to impress his dad. He thought his dad would be happy.
No, I thought he was just trying to get his dad off his case, and it had the side benefit of getting him off his case forever.
Benefit?
Yeah.
Well, from the kid's point of view.
I think you put more into this than I actually gave you. And it's like, and that's cool. That's cool. But no,
because that's what Bill would do to get his father off his case.
Right. I
designed
designed
a computer that would drive him
into his natural weaknesses and drive him to suicide.
Well, I don't know what those would be. Does your dad have a susceptibility to classical music or
no?
No,
but if I had designed a computer that in some way convinced him that the Huskers were a loser of a team, that might have been enough to do it. Maybe it could create Husker games that looked real, but in which the Huskers always lost.
But that's called the 2020 season, isn't it?
That might, yeah. But back then, when my dad was alive, they didn't have this losing season. So
everybody's going to have to face that the computers are going to. There's hardly a profession out there, if there is one, that computers won't at least augment.
Do you think there's a computer that can build a bridge you won't drive on, Charles?
It probably already is.
Yeah, but that's I've witnessed the computers take over structural design in a way, because they can do in probably now seconds, but I remember 20 years ago it'd be an hour would be equivalent to like 1,000 man hours. in calculations. So we can run all sorts of load cases and do it's entirely. I'm like an army.
Well, yeah. So you can take away like dozens of engineers and do
projects or hundreds.
Yeah, with one. It's like one
computer,
supervising these algorithms. Then that's how this goes. You know.
Yeah, and that
look at how sophisticated the weather prediction computers are getting.
Yep.
As an example.
Well,
but it also depends on which ones you use and what data sets they're going off of, how good the data set is, because like that's the thing about all these computers. They're only as good as the stuff that you put into them.
Well, yes, but there's some predictive quality. Yeah, but when you get a lot of info, I don't know. I'm not a weather guy, but I know vibrations and such, and the way airplanes fly and all of that. We're at the point where we can model air, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm just wondering if they're taking into account the flapping of a butterfly's wings in China when they're predicting hurricanes here.
They might. It might get there.
Huh. Well, speaking of this modeling, Earth modeling stuff, John, you posted something about this model somebody created of how a flat Earth might work. You want to talk about that?
Well, I mean, it's basically this is an article from, let me see if I can find it here. I should have it right here. From Kotaku. Yeah. It's a flat Earth simulator. It kind of like, as you see in the picture that you've posted here, the sun is above the flat Earth. The moon is on the other side. They kind of orbit around a common center.
They're round. They are round.
They are round. They are, yes. And there you go. It's like
they are spherical, I guess.
They are spherical because gravity pulls enough mass into a sphere. But it's okay, yes, they are spherical. The Earth is a flat plate with Arctic ice on its entire rim.
Right.
And it's like the Kotaku article was written by someone who obviously does not much care for flat Earth theory. And he's kind of wondering if this was actually designed as a spoof or not, because it doesn't appear to be necessarily a spoof. Nothing here is necessarily poking fun at the flat Earth. And it's like, there's a really great quote, and I have it right here. It's like from the author. It's like, first and foremost, let's make sure we're all on the same page. Mocking people for believing in the flat Earth theory is cruel and unhelpful. Mocking flat Earth theory is in itself necessary and enjoyable. No one believes in something as outlandish, nonsensical, and so easily disproved as this out of malice. And let's be clear, those who know it's bullshit and yet profit from selling it to others are absolute garbage humans with only malice driving them. We're talking about believers here. Mm-hmm. Pointing and laughing may make you feel good, but it also makes you a dick. So basically, he's saying it's like flat Earth theory is dumb, and it is. It's literally as dumb as you can get. But to make fun of people who believe it is not necessarily beneficial. It won't change their mind. It might polarize them against it. But it's like he's just wondering if this might be something that was constructed by someone who likes to manipulate stupid people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, probably. I mean, that's what a lot of the YouTubers who believe this are. They know it's bullshit, but they create fancy PowerPoints and videos with special effects to sell this and to gain influence, because they want to gain influence by acting like I'm a singular entity that has information that they don't want you to know. So you should come to me for more information and help me by paying my Patreon so I can continue to get past the conspiracy theory.
Very common in the UFO and paranormal societies because, I call it the high priest of the desert syndrome. It's like you have to come to me for information. There's no way you can get this information except from me. And they're right up front. If you don't want to believe it, don't believe it. But I'm the only one that has it. And it's like, so I choose to not believe it because I don't believe that a lot of these idiots have a source of information that I don't have access to. So I don't deal with psychics. I don't deal with mediums. I don't deal with what are they called? UFO contactees, that channelers. That's it. Yeah,
Mm.
the ones who channel ET's message. It's like nah.
Okay, so we shouldn't make fun of the flat earthers.
Not necessarily.
We should mock the hell out of the theory,
Yes.
but not the people. So here's a question. Is it okay to find it hilarious or to laugh at the guy who built himself a rocket, launched himself in that rocket, a steam-powered rocket, and then died?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I love that guy. And he only went up like less than 2,000 feet when actually, probably at that time there's a jet flying overhead at about 25,000 feet. And it's like, what point did he make? He died.
Tell me that guy won that year's Darwin Award.
I hope he did. I do.
Although there's been some stiff competition lately. It seems like.
You think that's due to people stuck at home in the pandemic, that they're just more prone to doing stupid shit?
I think it's the advent of self-made celebrities who like to post all these like crazy videos of themselves online, and like everyone keeps trying to one up each other.
Right.
So it's not just a matter of COVID and people going stir crazy. It's a matter of people trying to one up others and become internet celebrities.
Do you guys think that?
That's exactly how it began in my mouth.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that the pandemic causing people to stay home and be more isolated is giving people more time to get on the internet and get exposed to these fringe ideas and maybe start adopting this sort of thing and become believers because they're kind of isolated? They don't have any reasonable people to bounce these theories off of, and
I do have a theory about that if I could bounce that off you.
Sure.
There's a lot of, I mean, the world is fairly mundane. We kind of understand how the world's going to work. We wake up, there's no magic.
Right.
There's no extraterrestrials that we know of. There's no pixies, trolls, fairies.
I mean, it depends on what you put into your body, whether or not this exist.
Well, even if you do put those things in your body, after about 6 to 8 hours, you realize they're not real anymore. But it's like, there's not real. It's like the world is just what it is. It's, you go to work, you work hard your whole life, and you do what you do. But there's a lot of people who want to believe that there's much more, that they want pixies, they want trolls, they want fairies, they want aliens, they want all of the things, because that would make the world a much more fascinating place than it really is. And the sad thing is, it's just not. It's like, this is what we have. Physics has outlined what is and what probably is not. And that's what we're going to be waking up to every single day. But
Seth, we'll have to call this episode John Destroys the Magic of the World.
Oh no, I will. I don't want to. I want what I call it, an undifferentiated universe. It's like my elbow works like this. If it goes in any other direction, if my elbow works in any other way than the normal way that an elbow bends, then I'm going to be in serious trouble. I want a universe that goes in more than one direction. I want a universe that all things are possible. But I'm sorry. That's
well,
just
what about
the universe
multiverse theory?
He wants to find.
Yeah, but that's a different universe. It's like and we have no real proof that the multiverse exists. And even if they go ahead.
We wouldn't have access to it.
Exactly. We don't know if it does exist. Do we have access to it? We don't know. There's no science behind it, and it's like, I've as someone who really does enjoy rational thought, I have to go based upon empirical evidence, and it's like, sorry, I'm sad, but there's a lot of people who want more.
All right. Well, let me ask this then to the group.
Does flat Earth give them that though?
It does.
I get maybe, but
well, actually, it's a side effect of allowing yourself to believe anything. It's I mean, like you said, the sun and the moon in this are spheres. we know why that is. It's because if you put enough mass into a concentrated area, it turns into a sphere. It all pulls itself together into a sphere.
Mhm.
So the very point that the fact that there's a sun and a moon in that picture that you showed of the flat Earth
Yeah.
is like pointing like a middle finger straight at the flat Earth theory, and it's like they don't know enough to understand that. It's like
No, there's a conspiracy theory about the sun and moon. Give me just a second.
All right. While you're looking that up, let me ask this question of the group. So I think all of us are skeptics, right? As far as belief in pixies and gods and things like that. Does that in any way impact your enjoyment of fanciful stories that use those elements as story elements versus somebody that believes that those things might be real?
Well, no, it doesn't. And it's like,
so you can enjoy a story that deals with elements like that, magic, fairies, pixies.
I have to admit, magic's not a fun.
But when I start believing in things that aren't real, it's like all of a sudden, I mean, I might be able to start believing that, trucks with the Biden-Harris logo on it pull up and like steal ballots and shit. And it's like, it depends on what you want to believe. It's like, instead of what you should believe your own eyes. Like we were talking earlier about your brother, Bill. And it's like he was saying, he heard from a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend who knew somebody, and he was certain that knowledge was absolutely real, wasn't he?
Right.
100% sure.
Right.
That was information that is something that he can use to guide his daily interactions.
Right.
And it's like, and you felt weird about that, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I would too. But it's like, see, that's what happens when we stop teaching critical thinking in schools like we have.
But do you think that makes movies that deal with that stuff less enjoyable for people that are natural skeptics than it does for the people that think those things are real?
Well,
it seems to impact Charles.
Do you like to ruin movies for other people? Because I do.
Yeah.
I really do. It's like, oh, that's impossible.
That being said, there are certain situations. The movie thing's kind of funny because I really don't like wizardry movies, but I will. Star Wars being sort of a different universe,
Space Wizards.
I'll succumb to that. I mean, I'll go with it.
Yeah.
I guess Jedis are space wizards.
Yeah. But for whatever reason, I don't know that there is the right way of doing it, and I don't know what that is, because I have seen some magical shows where I'll enjoy it completely, and then I've seen a few where it's too convenient or something.
It looks like the internet is really working hard to like push back against the flat earth, because the only thing I could come across was a YouTube video, and I was going to watch a YouTube video on here, but there's a lot of like debunking articles. Like I'm 4 pages in to search, and like it's all about like why flat earth is terrible when I asked the sun and the moon and the flat earth theory. But I remember hearing it because I was watching a podcast, and one of the ridiculous people was like, you don't know, man. I'm not a scientist. I can't say 100% because I can't explain the science. And I don't know if I can trust them. So
I can.
It's whatever. It's okay.
I can prove it right here, right now. I can.
I know you can. I'm just saying that's
all
where
I have to
people
do.
Go. But
is give me the picture back.
Well, I think
get rid of the donut and see this pen? Here's a pen. I dropped it. I just proved the earth is round because all mass goes toward a common center when it drops. It's like, there we go.
There's no talking to them though, because they're like, that could be something else. You're saying that's how gravity works, but I don't know. I've never gone out and tested it myself and proven for myself how gravity works.
I saw you at PlanetCon. You tested gravity a couple times.
Yeah, but John,
I remember. Yeah.
When you drop that pen, No matter where you go on the earth, it drops straight down.
Yes.
It
Toward a
doesn't
common
go.
center-
It doesn't go
Toward
to
a
this.
common center of mass, which is at the bottom, which is straight down. It's like every time you can do it in
That
Australia.
proves
you
that the
can
Earth
China.
is flat.
No, it proves it's round. If it was flat and it was rotating, it would start going from side
No,
to
it's
side.
not rotating. You see, the
It's just
flat
flat.
Earth is accelerating ever upwards.
Well, then
Right.
there would be no gravity at all.
Yeah,
No,
because it's inertia's.
Yeah.
You drop a pan. and it
Unless
falls.
you spin it or have a natural attraction, which would an
You're
automatic.
applying logic to this, and there
I'm
is
not-
no logic to be had.
Logic is philosophy. This is science. This is straight up physics. It's like it's real easy.
Well, I think it is a shame because there's a lot of minutia that would be fun to explore that people can, and I don't think science has gotten this, wave mechanics and light, even wave mechanics and sound. I think there's a lot to be discovered still if people wanted to explore it.
Well, it's true.
If you want to, so it's not like we know everything, and it's actually not but a couple of steps.
But we do know this. We
Yeah.
do know that flat Earth is
Right.
no.
Yeah.
We have pictures of the Earth as round from satellites. We have
I know,
pictures.
but they don't care. They're like, the government planted those pictures. They're not real. That's how, like, there's no arguing with them. There's no good faith
Yeah.
argument because everybody in authority who would tell
And-
them that the Earth is round is a liar.
And that's how Q starts. That's how Q starts when people have this kind of lapse in their critical reasoning skills. You got something that's prime for this, and it's like it's awful.
I know. I saw a cat walk across the screen.
I have too many cats on my desk right now.
There's no such thing as too many cats.
Yes, there is.
No, there's
Sooner or
not.
later, there's just cat butt in frame all the time, and nobody wants it. See, there goes another one.
Now, to bring us around to something much more positive news, Roku and HBO Max may be near a deal.
Yay! Then
Thank
I'll get HBO Max. I will get HBO
God.
Max. I'll watch all the things. I will, because I'll be glad to do it.
So for anybody that doesn't have HBO Max right now, it's not available on Roku. So if you want to stream it, you need to have something like a Chromecast device. You pull up HBO Max on your computer, and then you send that signal to your Chromecast device to show it on your TV. And it works quite well, actually, but it is kind of a pain in the ass when you already have a Roku to have to switch over to your Chromecast, go to your computer, pull up the show, Chromecast it to the device. And then, of course, if you want to pause it, you got to make sure you go back to that computer and hit the pause button and then back it up a few seconds, because in those few seconds you were walking to find the computer, you missed what they were saying on the show. So it'll certainly be nice to have Roku ability to stream that media from. And there's quite a bit of content out there. I was surprised that they've got all of the old original Godzilla movies out there now on HBO Max, which are some of my favorite shows.
There is a noise that is they copyrighted well. It's like that the noise of Godzilla is distinct. You know it's
Yeah.
Godzilla. Yeah.
Right. It'd be fun to see a Jurassic Park edit where they substituted in the roar of Godzilla for the
Or
T-Rex.
substituted in Godzilla. It's like a
Yeah, there you go.
900-foot monster. Just on,
I'm actually a big fan of the substituting of cats in Jurassic Park.
I like that too.
If you
I
Did
see
do.
somebody
those.
actually do that?
Yes,
I have
all
not
the
seen that.
dinosaur shots are substituted with cats.
Hmm,
That's adorable.
Yeah,
nice.
adorable until you're there, and then all of a sudden, I mean, you've got cats, Seth. Do you know that?
Yeah,
if
the
you,
only reason they don't eat us is
Yeah.
because they're smaller than us.
yeah, if you shrunk to be 12 inches tall, like overnight, they would eat you, and then they would actually be mad because you're not feeding them because they didn't realize, they won't put that together that we ate the guy who fed us. It's like
Yes,
so.
I
But I mean,
realize this.
But it's hard to tell because if you raise a lion or a tiger from being a baby, there's a good chance it won't eat you until
You mean
go
sort of
on
like
it.
the Tiger King?
Yeah. Just like Siegfried and Roy probably have a different opinion, but yeah.
But I saw a thing on them, like a big in-depth thing. They think what led to that was at the end, they were not spending the amount of time with the tigers on a daily basis constantly, like they were at the beginning of their career. So they weren't creating the bond and the hierarchy. They weren't solidifying that because they weren't spending enough time with the animals.
What a rough learning curve that is.
Well, the Tiger King seemed to do okay.
Until he had to shoot one in the face.
Right.
But again, that goes to volume. When he started having more animals than he could bond with and spend regular time with, then they would test the hierarchy.
Right.
So
Makes sense.
Well,
Although you do wonder if maybe dinosaurs would play with people like cats play with mice.
probably. Or just not care. Bears just don't care. They just start eating you alive.
Well, that's
Not
kind of how,
empathy there.
yeah.
The sound, it makes the meat taste better.
I mean,
You say that as if you have the voice of experience, Seth.
I was a bear in a past life.
I suddenly now want to check out Seth Bateman.
I mean, Seth, aren't all like Norwegians, the Viking like you, like bears in past lives?
No, we're actually just part bear.
Okay.
Why I'm so big.
He might be a werebear. We might have to watch him in full moon. See if he transforms.
There's a whole genre on Kindle Self Pub that you guys could look into.
Oh God, no. No.
Werebear fan fiction. I mean,
With like token perfect like Native American tropes. Or Viking
Probably
tropes, one of
yes.
the two.
I don't know. I just know that it exists and people buy it.
Well, all right. Now that I know that.
That's a pretty big sigh right there.
Yes.
Well, with all the changes in technology with COVID that we're having to deal with and adapting to release stuff, you know, through Roku, through HBO, you know, some places are going to try, or some movies are going to try theater too, like Wonder Woman. It's a little bit of a weird place, I think, in sci-fi. I mean, because we know they've delayed Dune into next year.
that pisses me off.
I know.
Dune I wanna
I
see in
saw
the
the
theater.
trailer. Once
I'm
they gave us
glad.
the trailer, I got really excited and then really disappointed when they said, "Oh, we're going to delay it 2 weeks later."
Dune, I'm glad because I really want to see that in the theater.
I do too. I do too. And it's like, let them get all the bells and whistles all fixed up. It's like, do whatever. Because I heard the director was feeling a little crunched for time. So let's
Do you
take
think
that
he'll
away.
actually change anything though? I mean, because that takes money to keep spending and no promise that it could have the same return not being able to be released in theater.
But at least he'd be able to finish his initial thoughts. Of course, over the next year, he's going to have more and more thoughts about it. But it's like, you know, kind of like it's. I mean, when I was an undergrad, I always waited till the last minute to do my papers, because if I did my papers like a week ahead of time, I spent that entire week just like obsessing on tweaking it. So it's like I waited till the last minute, and it's like I don't know if it changed the quality of the papers, but it's like I slept better. So I don't know if the director is going to sleep better over this course of this year, knowing that he's got this thing in the can. I mean, like you just had a picture up of Wonder Woman that's coming out on the 25th. Actually, that's been done for what, 2 years now?
At least a year, because it was
At least a
last
year.
spring.
Yeah. It would have come out at the beginning. It was going to come out right when COVID hit. So, but yeah, it's like I can't imagine the director. Can't imagine that she wasn't like, you know, there's things that I want to do over the last year.
But it's like Mrs. Baxter, my art teacher in high school, used to say, and it's a great quote that applies to anything creative: a work of art is never done. It just stops in interesting places.
Gotta know when to stop writing the book.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Chaos Walking. We want to talk about that.
Yes, because this is another one of those things that now that I know about it, I hope it's not delayed because I really want to watch it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
what
the
is
tr-
this about? I haven't watched the trailer.
The
So
trailer
it's supposed
looks
to
really
be
good.
set in the future, and the basically the elevator speech on what the movie about is in Prentice Town. Todd has been brought up to believe that the spackle released a germ that killed all women and unleashed noise on the remaining men. And noise is capitalized because they can hear each other's thoughts. After
Ew.
discovering a patch of silence out in the swamp, his surrogate parents immediately tell him that he has to run, leaving him only with a map of New World, a message, and many unanswered questions. He soon discovers that the source of the silence, a girl named Viola. But it's got a cool cast.
Yeah, it's like Tom Holland and the girl from 11.
No,
That's
it's Daisy Ridley, Ray.
Yeah,
Oh, it is Daisy
Ridley.
Ridley.
Yeah.
How dare you?
My bad. I can't. All right, I'm trying
John,
to see.
all women do not look alike.
Well, yeah, they're okay.
He's like, yeah, I guess.
Yes.
The lack of neotness features just throws me off from time to time.
But Mads
But-
Mikkelsen is also going to be in it, another Star Wars alumni.
Mad?
Well, I mean, how do you think Daisy Ridley and Tom Holland's chemistry is going to work? It could work really well, and it could like totally fall flat. I think it's
I don't know.
like
The trailer looked pretty good.
well, the trailer looks. They use the best parts of all the movies in the trailer. In fact, sometimes the trailers actually give away everything that's in the movie. So it's like I don't know. It's like, what do you think? What do you think, Jenna? Do you think that the chemistry is going to work?
Isn't he?
Well, so he's, I thought, younger than her.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's supposed to be a romantic chemistry beyond him just maybe like boyhood crush over her.
That's what it seemed in the trailer. Yeah.
And that's fine. Like, you don't get many of those. It's okay if it's like unrequited love. That's most of life. Let's teach people that early.
Indeed. But it's like I'm just wondering if their chemistry will work really well together. It's like every once in a while you find some people whose chemistry works really well together. Like, I don't know, Olivia Newton-John and John Travolta had fairly decent chemistry to work together. And there's a lot of, people who work really well together. I just don't know. I'm thinking of Tom Holland, and I mean, all I know of Tom Holland is Spider-Man. So I don't know what else he's done.
They say he's really brilliant in The Devils. There's something he came out on Netflix.
Yeah, The Devil All the Time or something.
Yeah, The Devil All the Time.
And Daisy Ridley, I only know from Star Wars, sorry. But it's like, she's got it. Daisy Ridley has one of the most emotive faces I've ever seen.
Well, I don't think it's the chemistry is going to be a problem. It's how honest can you possibly be if you're seeing all of a man's thoughts.
Can she see them? I don't think she can see them.
Yeah, no. The planet, something in the atmosphere, vocalizes thoughts. Like,
so she can hear them.
Everybody can hear each other's
Oh,
thoughts.
wow. Okay.
Yeah. So, but
That
that's
sounds
why
awful.
I think it goes. Everybody can hear each other's thoughts, and for some reason, the men got rid of the women.
What?
That's how it.
You're just heavily sociopathic today, man. It's like it's scaring me. It's like I feel.
Well, yeah.
Well, did the men get rid of the women, or was it the virus?
No, the theory is that there was some disease released and women died.
Right. So I wonder why Daisy Ridley, when she gets to the
Well, she's from another planet.
right,
She's like,
so she's not human, or she is human.
We don't know.
Like, I think a colony world. That's what
Yeah,
I felt
the
like.
impression
Yeah.
is it's a futuristic colony world.
Yeah, because I know at the end of the trailer, she says they ask her how many are coming, 10, 20, and she goes thousands of women, essentially, are coming to.
No, it doesn't have to be women. It could be anything else.
Yeah,
We don't
it could
know.
be.
That's true.
There you go and fill in the gaps again, Bill.
That was my take when she said that. I just thought thousands of women were coming to Earth. So
It could be thousands of outsiders. It could be thousands of whatever the alien species is that they're running from. Maybe they're running from, like humans are running from something.
right.
So we'll see. I'm just looking to be entertained.
When does that
Give
come
me an
out?
escape.
When's that due out?
It is due out. I think all they said was just soon. That's when it's left at, coming soon. There was no exact date.
January 22nd.
What's it going to be on?
January 22nd.
What service is gonna show it? Does anyone know?
What's that?
What service is going to show it? Is it
I think they're going to do
Prime? What?
Streaming and
Movie theater.
Streaming from where?
So it looks like Fandango is the one that put the trailer out.
Yeah, so it could be Fandango.
The only thing I've ever seen Fandango do is like promote movies in theaters, though. I don't know if they're streaming people.
Like they're not. I don't know if they're exactly sure yet. Like they may be wanting to release it on theaters, but they may have to. They understand they have to stream too. Like it wasn't clear. All it said was coming soon. It didn't say theaters. It didn't say streaming in the trailer.
Oh, so they're just being teases, bastards.
Yep.
Okay.
Which is unfortunately, like, if you love movies, it's probably been one of the most frustrating years.
Yeah, I do. I miss it. I miss going to the theater, and I don't know. They might be releasing. They are releasing Wonder Woman to some theaters, and I'm gonna have to fight myself not to go because, like, I miss it. I do, but I also don't want to die. So I do not.
Yeah,
not a big fan of dying.
Death would be bad.
All right, someone put up.
And this is based on the book The Knife of Never Letting Go, which was released in 2008.
What is all right, with the release date for Chaos Walking? The film is currently scheduled to hit theaters on January 22nd, 2021, but even that seems tentative at the moment, considering that many theaters are temporarily closed due to the ongoing pandemic. All right, so it's supposed to be a theatrical release. Cool. I'll wait. I will wait. I'll be glad to wait. Sounds like a good movie. Good time. I'll go do it. Get a big,
not much options,
extra buttery popcorn and just sit down and watch it and enjoy myself.
But I have been enjoying the fact that there's a lot of good streaming series out now. Discovery, Star Trek Discovery, The Mandalorian. Are you guys watching The Mandalorian?
Yeah, The Mandalorian is awesome.
I haven't started season 2 yet.
It's every bit as good as season 1. You're gonna love it.
Cool.
Yeah.
And
it makes me want to be back in the Star Wars universe again. It's like the sequels and the prequels kind of took me out of it, but like Mando makes me feel like I did when I watched like episode 4.
Let me ask you this. Let me put it this way. Does watching Mando make you want to dress up as a Jedi and take your lightsaber and go walk around the old market?
Well, that's not a fair question because I didn't.
He always wants to.
Yeah, I did. I don't need that. It's like I want to walk around. If there wasn't a pandemic, I wouldn't. And you know what, Bill? You would too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you don't need a movie to do that. It's like,
right.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. I mean, after becoming literally like an Ultra Sabers dealer yourself, it's like you have all of them. It's
you
like,
mean a hoarder? He's not selling anything. He's hoarding it.
Yeah, he is.
That's right. I'm a collector.
But yeah, you've got your Jedi outfit. You've got your stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I just watched that episode last night. It was pretty good.
Well, and I'm a Sith too because I'm in the Dark Empire as well now. So I've got all my bases covered.
Well, it's as we all wait and hope and fingers crossed we can see things soon, in theaters. If people can just wear their stupid mask.
Right.
Well, stupid people would just wear their mask because masks themselves are not stupid.
Right.
Any other things we're looking forward to in the media?
The Expanse. The Expanse next month, I think December 16th.
Oh, next month is the next season of The Expanse?
Yes.
I said that at the beginning of the show, dumbass.
I never listened
I think that's when you were rebooting, John.
No, it's before we started.
It's how you say it, John.
See, I hear clicking coming from over there. No, it's down there. It's like clicking.
Look, you're always like, this is gonna end badly. This sucks. There is no magic.
We're all gonna die.
I did that today. It's like Not always, you generalizing bastard.
John,
I mean,
you are.
pretty
There's
much
a reason
always.
we call you the voice of doom.
Yes, I am. Thank you very much. That's not exactly why, but yeah, I
Man, did we ever talk? Did we actually talk about season 4 of The Expanse?
don't think we did.
I don't know.
Season 3 or season 4?
I'm
I
sure
can't
we
remember.
had to.
But
Yeah, you
the
did.
Earth is
There
in
was
a
that was
bad,
an expansion.
Well, that and the boys, right?
Mhm.
So,
like the Earth is in a bad situation right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I don't know how they're
Several-
gonna get out of this one. Actually, yeah.
We always do.
Well, I think the answer- I think
flexible
I
and
know what the
durable
an-
that way as a species.
I think I know what the answer is. Those incoming missiles heading towards the Earth are going to miss because nobody realized that the Earth is really flat.
yeah.
Nah.
I was waiting for a really bad pun, but
Oh.
thank you for disappointing me.
Yeah, you're
I
welcome.
appreciate that.
But I mean, I guess I could figure. I can't. Maybe I could listen to all the books in the series by the time the new one comes out,
Why would you do that?
because I want to know.
Well, they don't
That's
necessarily
like-
have to
But then
follow
they'll
the-
diverge. Like
But yet
generally, they
you say you
always
don't
end up
like
ultimately diverging.
Well, and you say you don't like spoilers, but then you spoil
Well,
it with
there's
the books.
spoilers, but there are books. But books aren't spoilers.
Yes, they are.
Books are the original story. No, they aren't.
They're spoilers. You always watch the
No, they're
movie
not.
first, then go back to the books.
You heathen.
Watch the movies
The book.
or the series
The
first.
book is the source of truth.
No, then you
The
go
book is
back
always
to the
better.
book to augment what you got from the movie source.
You know, I
No,
kind of have to
no.
agree with. I have to agree with Bill a little bit here because the book is always better than the movie.
Right.
There's always
You
more
always-
detail. But if you get the rough bones, and then you can actually fill in the finer points. It's like
Exactly.
with the book, and it's like that. Watching the movie does not give you the right not to read the book. You should read the book,
Right.
because there's so much more there.
Well, and here's the
time.
thing: when
Absolutely.
you read the book,
And on that note, I'll let you guys continue arguing because I got to book it. But
All right.
I don't
All
want
right.
to end this podcast. I'll let you guys continue the fun.
all right,
Bye,
we'll see you
Jenna.
later,
Happy
Jenna.
birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think you watch the movie first because when you read the book first, you get in your mind an idea of what the characters look like, and then when you see the show and it doesn't match up, you're disappointed. So you watch the
No.
movie first.
Or actually, or you're happy. It's.
No.
I mean, look, it's like I read Ready Player One first, and then I watched the movie, and the movie has some significantly different points to it, but I liked them both.
Mhm.
I was happy to see the differences, but yeah.
But would you rather have watched the movie first and then read the book?
Honestly, thinking about it, I don't think it would have changed my enjoyment of either of them.
But did it spoil the movie in any way, knowing what was going to happen?
Not really.
Because then why do you want to avoid spoilers for like Star Trek Discovery?
Because I want to watch that. There's no book to read on that, so it's like.
Suppose
just-
I wrote a book
so
and I gave it to you.
if you wrote a book, it's like
I could write-
is a manuscript in crayon going to appear on my door?
I'll write it, details of each episode. I'll write it down, give it to you. You can read it, and then you can watch the series.
Well, I'm probably going to start watching it tonight. So it's
Oh.
like I don't think you can write it that fast. But
What if I had
There's
an
a
AI
difference
write
between
it?
you writing it and like there being like books. Like you can't just summarize the episode and call it a book.
I could. It
No,
depends
you
on the
can't.
length of the summary. What is the definition of book?
You are angering me so much right now. You are literally lucky we're not in the same room or I'd be throwing things at your face.
It's okay, Sean. Don't worry about it.
Yours
Pixie
too.
dust.
A
Pixie
book
dust.
is defined as written or printed work consisting of pages glued or sewn together along one side and bound in covers. Now, if I take a synopsis and I
For
make
those
it
of you who
several
cannot
pages
see,
long,
if you can't see, Seth is actually raining middle fingers on Bill right now. So yeah,
and I stitch it together and I put a cover on it. Even if it's still a book, I could give it to John. It would read as a synopsis of each episode.
That would be nice. I haven't seen it done
That
with
is a
sci-fi.
spoiler. Like what I'm talking about is when I write an actual book, it's been out for 5 years and then somebody makes a series out of it. Reading that book is not a spoiler.
well, does a
It
book have
is.
does a
No,
does
it's
a
not.
does a
It
book have
spoils
to be does a book have
No.
to be original material? And it's like I think Bill's saying the book does not have to be original, and
Right.
he's right. It doesn't. Now the book said you want. I understand you as someone who fancies themselves an author, would want to define the metric of your craft as an absolute in terms of its originality. But it's like Bill's right. Bill could literally watch Discovery, pull out his 64 sets of crayons, write up a synopsis, and send it over, and we can call it a book. It's
Yeah.
like,
He can
He'll have to
call it
deal-
whatever he wants.
well, it's like I think he's gonna talk
Technically, it
to-
would be defined as a book. Now,
technically
I
it
don't,
would be defined as copyright violation. But
I don't want to go to a 2-hour movie already knowing how it's going to end.
Well, but that you don't
I go to a
necessarily,
movie to
That's
be
because you don't
surprised.
probably-
guys.
What?
I haven't seen this done with sci-fi. It probably should be, but I remember years ago at Barnes and Nobles, they were selling movie book combos for old movies, and those you could inevitably, the movie ended differently because we like happy endings.
Mhm.
Movie watchers like happy endings,
Sure.
and book readers don't necessarily need that. But like I can see with The Expanse, not having read the books, but I can see going either way because the movies are complicated enough to follow as it is, or the
Right.
show is. I can see a book helping.
Yeah, that's why I like to watch the series or the show
And if the
movie
book, but
first.
there are some things where you just go, oh my, some books are not that complicated, and it would be a tedious read afterwards. So it just depends.
Yeah, I'm not saying you have to read the book every time you see a movie, but if you see a movie and you really like it, and maybe it's like, for example, what was the one with Scarlett Johansson that we watched, Under the Skin, where you go
horrible.
watch that movie and
Well,
it's
yeah, but
it's
how do you write a
confounding,
book? There's
and then
no
you go to
lines.
the-
There's no dialogue. You can't write a book
Because
about
the
Under
book
Skin.
came first.
but then you go
Like-
back to the book, but then the book has undoubtedly inner monologues of what the characters are thinking.
It has to.
That
It has to. It's like someone has
that
to describe
that
everything
provides
that's
some
happening.
additional illumination to the work.
I
think
imagine, I bet if I read the book, the whole movie would
Mhm.
probably make a great deal more sense.
Right. But if you read the book first and then you went and watched the movie, I think you would be disappointed.
No, I was just
I was,
you'd be like, well,
I was
where's the
disappointed
fucking inner
anyway,
monologue?
Bill.
Yeah, I was disappointed watching it at all. It's like, but if the book if I'd read the book first, then perhaps the movie would have fleshed out some things that I read in the book. As it was, Under the Skin is like I said, I told you straight up, I don't consider it to be a movie. It's I don't know what it is. It's I feel that Scarlett Johansson was blackmailed into doing this movie somehow, and it's
It
like,
felt like it brought art down in general, almost like it had been created,
amen, golf clap. Golf clap for Charles.
almost as if it had been created by AI.
Yes, but one of those Reddit AIs that was forced to read like 1,000 hours worth of white supremacy AI and then write a book. This one was, I don't even know what they made this AI do, but this is the movie it wrote, and it's like, okay, we'll film it. Let's do
Listen,
it.
Roger Ebert's
So-
praise of this movie was effusive.
Robert.
I don't base
Ebert,
anything off of Roger Ebert.
I don't
Anyway.
either. No, I don't. Roger Ebert was not. Yeah.
All right, so like there are generations of people who read Lord of the Rings before seeing the movie. Were they spoiled on the movie?
Yes.
No.
They knew how it was going to end. If you knew that Gandalf was going to come back. His death in the movie would not be as
but you're
traumatic an experience.
That's not why you're not seeing the movie to be surprised. You're seeing
why are you
the movie
seeing it?
Because you want to see that vision come to life.
But you've already had it come to life in your mind.
Yeah.
The realization in the movie can only be a disappointment at that point.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No,
I would have much preferred to have seen Lord of the Rings, the big movie trilogy first, and then gone back and read the book, because it would have been far more fulfilling, I think.
No.
Yeah.
No.
What do you think, Charles?
Reading the book and then seeing the movie is like seeing the thing that you loved in your head come to life.
No, I have to agree. I have to agree with Bill on that.
You guys could all be wrong. That's
although
that's magnanimous of you. Thank you for letting us all be wrong.
But with the Lord of the Rings stuff, I'm trying to think when I was younger. I'm pretty sure I saw The Hobbit, the cartoon first.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty sure.
And did that make it better for you?
I think it did, because
you had sort of a preconceived notion in your mind.
To me, I think I needed a preconceived notion of the world you're in there.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the plot, but
I think Seth is just a book snob.
Tiny people's round doors. It's just you have to have a sense of that first before you go into The Hobbit. I mean,
reading the Harry Potter books did in no way lessen my enjoyment of the movies.
See, I read the books after the movies, and it made it so much more enjoyable, because as I'm going into the books and I'm seeing these new characters come and it's describing it, I already have kind of a vision of that character in my mind, and the description just cements that even further.
I don't need that.
I don't need it, but I like it.
But we're not writers, Bill. None of us, except
you
for
don't
Seth.
have to just
I
be
think
a
you
reader.
do.
I've been reading books since before I can remember. That's just how
I have too, but I'm like everybody else. I'd prefer to see the movie first and then already have a picture in my mind.
I don't think that's like everybody else.
Because the book
everybody
always,
else on this, like everybody else on this call except you.
Yeah. I think you're the outlier, Seth.
I think you might be here, Seth. Do you need a hug? Because we're here for you.
No, I don't want a hug. Not from you. I don't want a hug from you dirty non-readers.
We're here for you, man. It's like,
no.
I've got a COVID-infused hug ready for you.
I don't want it. Don't want it.
I think, Seth, you need to sleep on it. I think you'll realize that
I'll sleep on this, and I'll wake up right again tomorrow.
It ruins the
first,
movie.
Then movie.
Well, I think
then movie.
I think the way it might go, let me because this will help make sense of it. I think.
London, we need to see you.
I'd rather see the movie on flat Earth proofs before I decide to read the book.
Before you read the book, right? That makes sense.
There's a book. There's a book on flat Earth.
If there's not, there will.
Well, there might be, but I absolutely do not want to read it.
It's like the what is it? Rule 42 for the internet. If it exists, there's porn of it.
So there's flat Earth.
Rule 34.
Okay, if it exists.
Thank you for clearing up that porn rule, Seth.
There's one thing I know: it's the internet. Thank you.
And porn. In porn, you
don't need to know porn to know Rule 34. You just need to know that if you can think of it, it's out there somewhere.
So you just need to know rules. You're the guy with rules. Like you have to read the book before you see the movie rule kind of thing.
Bill knew about the rule. He just didn't know the right rule.
There you go. It's like,
that's right.
To you, there's a right and a wrong. That's not how Jedi think.
It's a right and a wrong to this.
To me, it could be Rule 42. It could be Rule 98.
That sounds
but no one's going to know what you're talking about. They're
black and white.
If you say Rule 42, they're going to assume you're talking.
Only the Sith think in absolutes, Seth.
So you're saying that the Jedi had no right and no wrong information? They were alternative facts, space wizards?
Right and wrong are abstract and totally non-objective.
I could tell that Bill was just getting the porn rule mixed up with Life, the Universe, and everything.
Yeah. Exactly. Hitchhiker's Guide.
It was obvious.
See,
I knew what he was saying.
Charles knew what I was talking about.
So there's a good example.
Rule 42 from now on.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I read the book, and then because the movie didn't come out for like years until years after I read the book, and the book actually allowed me to realize how inferior the movie was.
Right.
Because it's like the book was like, I don't even know why they tried to make the movie. They did the best they could.
So the movie was a disappointment.
It was, because I read the book.
Right. So if you'd have seen the movie first, you would have probably enjoyed the movie, but then gone back and read the book and said, oh, this is so much better. I'm glad it didn't spoil the movie for me.
Exactly.
Yeah, book first. But interesting point. Before I forget this, there is a rule 42 of the internet.
It's like, when did you become like Judge Seth? I am the law. I am the law.
I was curious if there was an actual rule 42.
Okay, what is it?
It is delicious cake. You must eat it.
I thought the cake was a lie.
The cake is a lie. Yeah.
Well, I think that's probably rule 43. It is a delicious trap. You must hit it.
What, wasn't the cake a trap in Alice in Wonderland? Should you not eat the cake, maybe?
No, like the cake in Alice in Wonderland makes her grow after she, I think. I don't remember. I never actually... I'm not really a Alice in Wonderland.
If cake makes you grow, then should you ever have cake? Because you're as big as you really should be, don't you think? You're 6 foot something. It's like rather large. So no more cake for you? It's like if we're dealing with absolutes, then you can have no more cake. Ever. No more cake.
You know what they say, there's no sense crying over every mistake.
Yeah, over spilled cake.
Keep on trying till you run out of cake.
You guys are all about Rule 26. Any topic can be turned into something totally unrelated.
That's our show. Have you listened to us? That's what we do. That's we rule. All right, we got to change the name of the show. Rule 26.
Yeah.
That's what we are. That nails it. That is exactly what we do. It's the rambling process that degenerates into chaos. That is.
I refer you to rulesoftheinternet.com. Seems like that's an official site.
What's rule number 69?
Wait. Oh dear.
Don't look that up.
42 is nothing is sacred, so it's different than the cake. And weird. There is a 69. All the rule says is LOL 69. Am I right?
All right, then.
Nice. Well, there's a 69 too. If your question ends with "Am I right?" the answer will never be yes.
How many total internet rules are there? That's the real question.
Looks like 100.
100. Okay.
Most of them
so less than the Ferengi rules of acquisition.
But I don't know if this is like canonical because anyone can put up this.
Yeah, right. Maybe that's rule number 1. There is no definitive set of internet rules.
Actually, I think there is that rule up there somewhere.
Well, that's good to know.
We've now defined Seth as the rule master. Maybe it's time for him to lay down an objective set of internet rules.
Here, rule number 8.
That cannot be broken.
You must
I don't know if you
first.
can do that.
Yeah.
Like
there are no real rules about posting. That's number 8.
Well, so would a good rule be like 101? You must read the book before you see the movie.
Possibly.
It's the proper way to do it and the correct way to do it.
Yes. Let's be British about this, shall we? It's the proper way.
It's only proper if you say it proper. And I did, it is the proper way.
Little Lord Swanson.
So do we close out by
Little
talking
Lord
about
Swanson.
Arecibo? Because I'm kind of sad about
Arecibo. He's Arecibo's going away. That's kind of sad. And the only reason it's going away is because they said it would be too much of a risk to human life to try to repair it. But we've got people that built these skyscrapers and they're up, 200 feet in the air. Or how tall is that Burj Khalifa?
We have people that built this. It's like, can't we just fix it? I mean, if we
Right.
built it, did it?
Well, looking at the construction of it, it depends entirely on what's wrong with it that needs fixing. Like, because if some of those wires need replacing and you can't like take the wire off without everything falling down.
A number of cables snapped, which caused the assembly to.
Well, listen, all you have to do is buy a fleet of drones, hook them onto the thing, and have them hover while you run a new wire.
In reality, though, this facility is extremely old, and it's probably many parts that are simply falling apart, and they would need some serious fundraising.
Well, are they going to tear it down and rebuild it then?
Well, China already built a superior facility.
Yeah, but are they sharing?
To some degree, but it's like it all depends. It's like the Trump administration has not been necessarily friendly to NASA or science exploration in general. Maybe the Biden administration will be more willing to fund these things. We'll see, but it's like Arecibo was kind of on its last legs anyway. It's like it was doing some of its best work in the 70s, which that tells you how old this facility is. In fact, it sent the first extraterrestrial message that was dedicated with any real power in this like 76, 74, something like that. But yeah,
I was hoping that by the time some alien intelligence receives the message, I'm dead.
It's literally not going to hit the nearest. They aimed it at a globular cluster that is 80,000 light years away. So you got time. You're good to go. Don't worry about that one. It's going to be a while. I think it's 80,000 light years away.
All right. Well,
I don't know.
All right. Well, how do we want to sum this show up?
Read the book
Watch
first.
the movie, read the book.
Yeah. No, don't listen to the show until you read the book.
Oh,
That's a good episode title.
Yes.
that is a good one.
All right. Well, thank everyone for listening to our show this week. Hope you enjoyed it. As a teaser, after the first of the year, we're going to have Professor Dan Clays back on. If you recall, he was on a previous show a few months back where we talked about comic book physics. So he's got a couple other exciting programs that he does, and we're going to have him on to talk about one or more of those. So watch for that to happen after the first of the year. Until then,
I am sorry. It was beamed at actually a galaxy named M13, which is 25,000 light years away. So
still, I probably won't be around.
You still probably won't be, but
unless I'm uploaded into.
You'll be a head in the jar. Be. It's Futurama.
I ain't got no body.
This telling us we have a guest coming in the near future is a whole lot better than when you would just promise something amazing in the next episode. Every episode.
There's going to be, yeah. Guess what?
Well, every episode is amazing.
Every episode is Rule 26.
And it's so much better than the book.
I will
eat
your heart.
But it technically is right because there is no book.
Right.
So it's like, and if you tried to, could you write a book, Seth, that's better than this?
No.
Yes.
Couldn't.
Could you write a book about this episode that's better than this?
About this episode? Then no, because this would be a nonsense book.
Under the Skin was made. I don't know. But,
You're gonna die angry about that movie.
It's like some hours that I can't get back. It's like I can't. I didn't.
If there's one thing that has made my life complete, it was getting John to watch Under the Skin.
Someday, Bill is going to be murdered, and it's going to end up being John just because he was thinking about that movie too much.
Yeah.
Until next week.
Have a good week. Be sure to check us out on galacticdriftwood.space, where if you're just tuning into us for the first time, you can find all of our past content and more. And on that note, have a great week. Try not to get together with too many people over the Thanksgiving holiday. We don't want COVID to spread. So
stay inside.
Wear
Stay
a mask.
safe. Wear a mask.
Don't do the holidays. Read the book.
That is better advice right now. Just stay inside and read a book.
All right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Galactic Driftwood Podcast. For more information and past episodes, please visit our website at galacticdriftwood.space or subscribe to us on YouTube. And now, please deactivate your cranial downlinks, collect your towels, and be sure to watch your step as you exit our gravity well.